friends. I just took a shower, washed my face, so I have wet hair and no makeup on. In fact, it's a little smudgy. Can you tell? Anyway, it's Sunday. I need a video for tomorrow, and I recently purchased some books at a thrift store, so I decided I would show them to you for today's video. So that's what's happening. And if you're new here, my name is Hunter. If you're not new here, welcome back. The books I have are right here. There's 10 of them, and I'm very excited to show them to you. So before we get started, be sure to subscribe to my channel down below. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to follow me over on Instagram if you haven't already. And now let me show you the books. I'm nailed down. I went to Goodwill a few weeks ago with my mom. She loves Goodwill, and I hadn't been to a Goodwill in forever. So I decided to look at the book section because I used to buy books at Goodwill all the time, and I hadn't in a while, and I've gotten really into reading like mystery books. Some would say mass market paperback, which is what these are. So I decided to just start grabbing books, and I eventually had like a whole cart full of books. So I got 10 of them, and like I said, the style of books that I like. So this one says an FBI thriller. That's kind of my vibe. Things about someone dying, someone being murdered, mystery novels, but mystery in the sense of like FBI detective kinds of things, just like crime novels, I guess. So I thought I'd show you everything I picked up. So we're just gonna start from the top and work to the bottom of this pile. So first is called Justice for Bonnie, and the front of it, so it's by Karen Foster and I.J. Schechter, and it includes photos. Apparently this is based on a true story, or it is like a real story. I did not realize that until I read the back of it, but it is an Alaskan teenager's murder and her mother's tireless crusade for the truth. It says when Karen Foster was told that something had happened to her 18-year-old daughter, Bonnie Craig, she knew what that meant. Karen on the front. The Alaska State Troopers investigating the scene said it was a hiking accident, but for Karen, the pieces didn't add up. Bonnie would never have ditched class to go hiking, and she didn't drive, so how would she get to the creek miles out of town in the first place? Armed with little more than her own conviction, Karen set out to find the truth behind her daughter's death. So I think that sounds really good, and the fact that it's based on a true story, or it is a true story, like that's so cool. Like there are photos of the actual people in here, which I think is so cool and just makes it so much more real. Like I said, I had no idea it was a true story until I read, here's the, actually no, it's like you don't know it's real until you look at the photos in it. So I thought that was really cool. And then there is this one called Black Sheep, and it is by CJ Lyons. There's a thing on the front that says the ties that bind, the blood that is spilled, and then there's a little blurb from Sandra Brown on here that says the perfect blend of romance and suspense. It's the one mystery supervisory special agent Caitlin Tierney has never solved, her father's unexplained suicide after arresting his best friend for murder. It drove Caitlin to become one of the FBI's best agents, and often the most unorthodox. Her latest case is no exception when the man she holds responsible for her father's death asks for help in finding her missing daughter. Caitlin's search to brings her back to her North Carolina hometown, now vibrant with new money, old lies, and an unknown enemy who will do anything to keep Caitlin from learning the truth, and who will keep it buried. This is definitely my kind of book. This is something that I would have probably like randomly downloaded from the library or from Kindle Unlimited, so the fact that this was 99 cents at Goodwill was just as good for me. Next is this one called A Double Take by Catherine Coulter, and I'd never heard of her. I do hate when they have their picture as the entire back cover of a book. For some reason this is a thing. Why is this a thing? Hold on, there's another one that's like this that I have in this pile. Like why? Why do we need your face on the back? But anyway, the police are convinced that Julia Ransom is guilty of the brutal murder of her husband, renowned physician August Ransom. But after 6 months of investigation and media frenzy, she is free of their scrutiny because of the lack of evidence. One afternoon, she walks from her Pacific Heights home to Fisherman's Wharf alone, unwatched, and she realizes happy. Standing at the railing on Pier 39, she savors the sound around her. Tourists, countless seals on the barges, and for a moment enjoys the sheer normalcy of it all. It suddenly comes to an end when a respectable-looking man distracts her with a conversation before striking her unconscious and heaving her over the rail into San Francisco Bay. If it weren't for Special Agent Chenny Stone, Julia would drown. Chenny quickly realizes that the attempt on Julia's life must be connected to the murder of her husband and reopens the investigation with the San Francisco PD. And then there's more, but double take. That looks so good. So it's a really big book, but I'm very excited to read it. Definitely something that is so my vibe. Next is Switch. I don't know if I'm gonna like this one, but I read the first what's this called, of the blurb, so maybe I'll like it. But it's called Switch by Megan Hart, and it says the anonymous note wasn't for me. Don't get me wrong, I'm not in the habit of reading other people's mail, but it was just a piece of paper with a few lines scrawled on it, clearly meant for the apartment upstairs. It looked so innocent, but decidedly deliciously it was not. Before replacing the note and the ones that followed in its rightful slot, I devoured its contents, suggestions, instructions, commands. Each one was more daring and more intricate and more arousing than the last, and I followed them all to the letter. Before the notes, if a man had told me what to do, I would have told him where to go. But submission is an art, and there's something oddly freeing about doing someone's bidding, especially especially when it feels so very, very good. But I find that the more I surrender, the more powerful I feel, so it's time to switch up my rules. We play by my rules now. So the first paragraph seemed really interesting, so I read it and then I got home, and I'm scared it's gonna be a little bit racy. We'll see. We'll see. I may like it, I may not. We'll see. Next, this looks like a young adult novel. Oh yes, it says young adult fiction. And it is called The 100 Lives of Libby Lovett by Chelsea Sadati. I don't know, but this just looks like something I would have picked up at Books A Million or Barnes & Noble when I was in high school, or even off the shelf of the high school library. But it says, look, it's not like Hawthorne was friends with Lizzie Lovett. Lizzie was a little older and a lot cooler than Hawthorne. And when Lizzie disappears, Hawthorne figures it's simply a stunt for attention. Bad things don't happen to pretty popular people. So you get to know that Hawthorne doesn't set out to insert herself into Lizzie's life, like getting a job at the diner where Lizzie worked or hanging out with Lizzie's boyfriend. It just kind of happened. But the more Hawthorne learns about the real Lizzie, the harder it becomes to believe all the rumors she's hearing, and the harder it will become to tear herself away. Told with a unique voice that is both hilarious and heart-wrenching, Hawthorne's quest to learn the truth about Lizzie may be exactly what she needs to find her own. So this is definitely something I would have read in high school, but the cover was just so cute that I had to get it. Even though they say don't judge a book by its cover. I definitely judged all of these books by the cover. Like, these are terrible covers, and I was like, that's gonna make a great mystery read. Next is Dark in Death by J.D. Robb. On a chilly February night during a screening of Psycho in Midtown Manhattan, someone sank an ice pick into the back of Chanel Ryland's neck, then disappeared quietly into the crowds of drunks and tourists in Times Square. To Chanel's best friend, who had just slipped out of the theater for a moment to take a call, it felt as unreal as the ancient black and white movie up on the screen. But Chanel's blood ran red and her death was anything but fictional. As Eve Dallas puzzles over a homicide that seems carefully planned yet oddly personal, she receives a tip from an unexpected source, an author of police thrillers who recognizes the crime from the pages of her own book. Dallas doesn't think it's a coincidence, since the recent strangulation of a sex worker resembles a scene from the author's writing as well. Cops look for patterns of behavior, similar weapons, similar MOs, but the killer seems to find inspiration in someone else's imagination, and if the theory holds, this may be only the second in a long-running series. The good news is that Eve and her billionaire husband Rourke have an excuse to curl up in front of the fireplace with their cat Galahad, reading mystery stories for research. The bad news is that time is running out before the next victim plays an unwitting role in a murder's deranged private drama, and only Eve can put a stop to the creative impulse gone horribly, destructively wrong. That is so up my alley. This looks so good. I'm so excited to read this. 4 more to go. Next is Hello Darkness by Sandra Brown, and this is another one that has the author on the back. So it says, for Paris Gibson, her popular late-night radio show is both an escape and her real one contact with the outside world. Since moving to Austin to ease the pain of past tragic mistakes, she has led a life of virtual solitude, coming alive only when she hosts her show. To her loyal listeners, she is wise and trusted friend who not only takes her music requests but listens to their problems and occasionally dispenses advice. Paris's world of isolation is brutally threatened, however, when one listener, a man who identifies himself only as Valentino, tells that her online advice to the girl he loves has caused her to leave him, and now he intends to exact his revenge. Next is The Last Surgeon by Michael Palmer, and Michael Palmer's, let me see. Okay, latest novel pits a flawed doctor against a ruthless psychopath who has made murder his art form. Surgeon Dr. Nick Garrity, a vet suffering from PTSD, spends his days and nights dispensing medical treatment to a mobile clinic to the homeless in DC and Baltimore. In addition, he is constantly on the lookout for his best friend Humberto Vasquez, who was plucked from the streets 4 years ago for a secret military mission and has not been seen since. Psychiatric nurse Jillian Coates wants to find her sister's killer. The police ruled her death a suicide, but Jillian does not believe that Belle Coates, an ICU nurse, took her own life, even though every bit of evidence indicates that she did. Belle has left a subtle clue that connects her with Nick Garrity, a clue that only Jillian can decipher. Together, they must determine that each of those involved in a fatally botched case in an operating room 3 years ago is dying one by one. Their discoveries put them against genius Franz Kohler, a highly paid master of the non-kill. The art of murder does not look like murder. As doctor and nurse move closer to finding the terrifying secret behind these killings, Kohler has been given a new directive. His mission will not be complete until Jillian Coates and Nick Garrity, the last surgeon, are dead. Right up my alley. 2 more. The last kind of thriller, that's the word I was looking for earlier. The last kind of thriller novel is this one. It is called The Burial Hour by Jeffrey Deaver, and it says a Lincoln Rhyme novel, so I'm thinking this might be part of a series, but I'm thinking it probably can be read as a standalone. So it says, a businessman snatched from the Upper East Side street in broad daylight, a miniature hangman's noose left at the scene, a 9-year-old girl the only witness to the crime. With a crime scene this puzzling, forensic expertise of the highest order is absolutely essential. Lincoln Rhyme Rhyme and Amelia Sachs are called in to investigate. Soon, the case takes a stranger turn. A recording surfaces of the victim being slowly hanged, his desperate gasp the backdrop to an eerie piece of music. The video is marked as the work of the composer. Despite their best efforts, the suspect gets away. So when a familiar kidnapping occurs on a dusty road outside Naples, Italy, Rhyme and Sachs don't hesitate to join the hunt. But the search is now a complex case of international cooperation, and not all those involved may be who they seem. Sachs and Rhyme find themselves playing a dangerous game with lives of all across the globe hanging in the balance. Yeah, we love it. We love a good thriller novel. And the last one I don't think is it's definitely not like a true crime or like a crime type book. This one is immigration. It's called Border Child by Michael Stone, and I was just drawn to the designs on this. So it says young lovers Hector and Lilia, or for some reason my camera stopped recording when I didn't know it, so I have to read the description again. Young lovers Hector and Lilia dream of a brighter future for their family in the United States. Hector left Mexico first to secure work in housing, but when Lilia, desperate to be with Hector, impetuously crossed the border and their infant daughter Alejandra, mother and child were separated. Alejandra disappeared. Now, 4 years later, the family finally has a chance to reunite, but the trauma of the past may well be permanent. Back in their sleepy hometown of Puerto Isidore, Oaxaca, in southern Mexico, the couple enjoys a semblance of normal life with a toddler son and another baby on the way. Then an unexpected tip might lead them to Alejandra, and both agree they must seize this chance whatever the cost. Working increasingly illegal jobs to earn money for his journey north, Hector seeks more information about his long absent daughter. Meanwhile, a bedridden Lilia waits the birth of their third child, but cannot keep herself from reliving the worst mistakes of her past. In luminous, compassionate prose, Michael Stone drops readers into the whirlwind of the contemporary immigrant experience, where a marriage is strained to the breaking point by consequences of wanting more for the next generation. So this one is definitely very different from the other books that I have here. These two are not really true crime type novels. It's not true, but whatever. But the rest of them are all very thriller. So I'm very excited to read all of these and to check them out. I paid a little over $12 for all 10 of these books. So if you have not been, there's so many books at Goodwill that are probably going to be thrown away. So you guys should definitely check it out if you haven't. Options here, but that's a great place to get some very, very nicely. I know at least where I live, the paperbacks are 99 cents and the hardbacks are $1.39. Super, super, super cheap. So like I said, a little over $12 for all of these books. And if one of them isn't good, then that's fine. Some of them can be very hit or miss, but I just kept grabbing books and I couldn't help myself. So that is all I have for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel down below if you haven't already, and follow me over on Instagram, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.